what I want you guys to understand is that we're all living a different reality. Meaning, one person can experience a recession while somebody else is experiencing something completely different because it's based on your vibration, right? It's based on it's based on what you believe is possible. So there could totally be this world recession, and there are still always going to be people who find a way to thrive. One, because that's their main point of attraction, and they've created so much momentum and success in their life that that's just not going to stop them, right? They're going to continue to manifest from that energetic baseline. And then you have people who, we could literally have a booming economy. We can be in a period of what we call expansion, and those people will still find a way to not be successful because, again, it's based on their vibration. So we are all creating these individual realities. It's not that when you see a news headline that there's a global recession going on, that every single person is subject to those circumstances, or every single person is experiencing life that way. I've told you guys on here several times, when COVID was going on like at its peak and I was living in New York City, it was literally like I wasn't experiencing what the world was experiencing. It was honestly, 2020 was like one of the best years of my life, based on my vibration, based on my ability to say, okay, I understand the collective illusion that's playing out right now. However, the way that I'm perceiving it is totally different. So even with a recession, I want you guys to kind of get a glimpse of like how we would look at this on Wall Street. Like, when there was a market crash or a market collapse, I would tell my clients, this is an opportunity for you to, one, you can buy, first of all, you want to look at it as a correction. Second of all, it gives you an opportunity to buy stocks that were highly valued at a cheaper price, right? Just giving you guys a glimpse into how wealthy people actually think. Wealthy people actually don't see recessions as a bad thing. They see them as opportunities to buy property, to invest in businesses, to maybe even buy out some businesses, to buy stocks. It's a correction. And a correction simply means that things have been overvalued for so long that at a certain point, the market is going to correct itself. Okay, so that's like a more practical way to change your perception around what a recession is, so you don't have that kind of like that attachment and the fear that triggers you into believing, okay, something bad is happening, the world is falling apart, I might lose my job, all these different things. And what I just explained to somebody on like one of the comments that they left under my reel about like, well, gas prices and this and that, and like how am I supposed to not believe that a recession is going on? And I said, well, you're experiencing a shortage of money in your life because, one, it always comes down to your expenses are outweighing your income, right? When you experience a lack of money, your expenses are here and your income is here. So you're going to always find yourself in the red, okay? So you need to ask yourself, do I need a new job? Do I need to get a raise? If you're somebody who's running a business, like what, like is this particular product or whatever or service that you're trying to put out there, like why is it not in alignment? There's always an answer. There's always a solution. So training yourself to be solution oriented will allow you to see how the idea or the perception that something is actually lacking, right? That's totally an illusion. If somebody needed to if somebody wanted a new job or they wanted a raise or whatever, those things are available for them to manifest, to literally create in their life. It's not that and somebody could argue, right? And they could say, well, what if the job market collapsed and it was impossible to find a new job and people weren't hiring and all these different things? Again, it's all so vibrational. I've manifested so many things in life that were impossible or should not happen because my belief was here. And my ability to not feed into what the matrix was telling me, what the matrix was showing me, and to truly understand that source literally has the power to orchestrate whatever I need in this moment, literally whatever I need. So all of these different things that are being thrown at you, they're just ego traps to keep you in fear, right? They're ego traps to keep you in a low vibration. And we just talked about this yesterday, how Money is the number one weapon that the Matrix is going to use against you to keep you in survival, to keep you in fear. And what my guides have been explaining to me recently is they're calling it like the fear virus, right? They're saying the virus is fear. And what starseeds and light workers are here to do is to help get control of the fear virus. But it's not actually how reality works. It's that in dimensions such as this one, where reality is distorted, all of these things seem so real and you feel so threatened, right? You're constantly feeling like, am I going to be able to survive? Am I going to be able to have shelter and food? And it's designed that way because it keeps you in the lower three chakras, is what they're showing me. When you are constantly in fight or flight, you can't think about having a spiritual awakening. You can't think about being connected to source. So it's architected purposely that way. So you feel so attached to your immediate circumstances that you can't make a change. But what my guides have been telling me, they're like, literally, it just doesn't exist. Like the things that humans are afraid of literally do not exist. Because if we were in a more highly advanced civilization, they're kind of talking about like other galactic civilizations right now, and they're talking about how like they don't have jobs, everything that we have, they basically don't have. So the way they experience reality is so different, and they experience reality in synchronicity with source, love, abundance, the true nature of reality, right? So when you just remember, hey, what I'm experiencing is not the real truth, that allows you to, or what it does is the Matrix starts to lose its grip on you. And once it starts to lose its grip on you, they're calling this 0 point calibration. Your energy field, you start attuning to the 0 point field. And the 0 point field is really just the field of infinite possibility, where all parallel timelines exist simultaneously. Because when you neutralize your frequency and you don't have like all these things going on in your vibration, and you're in that present moment 0 point energy, you can choose which version of yourself in the quantum that you're literally going to pull out and bring down into your physical reality. That's actually how it works. So when you're hearing about a recession and a war and all these different things, yes, people are creating those realities that are very real for them. Those are timelines in the collective quantum field that the collective is co-creating together. But you, with your own vibration, you get to neutralize your frequency, and you don't have to have the collective experience. Now, there are certain things that we agree to experience just, through being here. So it's going to be in your awareness. You're going to be aware that the global collective is like experiencing this particular catastrophe or something like that. But you, based on your level of consciousness, is what they're telling me, you get to choose your relationship to that thing. You get to choose how you relate to it. You can totally be in the awareness that everybody around you is experiencing a pandemic or a recession, and you are in the frequency of, that is not my chosen preferred reality. I'm not playing that game. I'm aware that other people are playing it, but it's not the game that I choose to play right now. When you choose that for yourself, you are not bound to the same elements that other people are constricted by. We can choose a positive timeline. Absolutely. You can totally choose a positive timeline. That is not my reality. Exactly. You want to keep affirming to yourself, that's not my reality. Is that a reality that I could tap into from a place of unconsciousness? Yes. But now that I'm consciously aware of all of this quantum spectrum and what's possible for me, I don't have to choose that reality. And people will try to convince you that you're crazy. Like literally my family thought I was losing my mind. I can literally remember my dad just looking at me one day, and he's like, you just think you can just think these things and they're going to happen. Like, it's so funny when I think about it. He's like, you just think you can just like live in this fairy tale. And guess what? I absolutely did. And fast forward, I have close to 7 figures in my bank account. I have thriving success. I don't have to worry about a pandemic or a recession or whatever and all these different things. I just do me on a daily basis because I know Source is literally arranging what I need. I know where my resources come from. My resources don't come from the government. My resources don't come from my parents. My resources don't come from my family. My resources don't come from like trying to marry a rich hubby or something like that, right? It comes from Source. It comes from the universe. So exactly. Yeah, somebody said, now Dad, really? And I love bringing that up because I know what it's like to literally be trying to like, you know, recreate this identity and adopt this new mindset when you're literally surrounded by people who are still, you know, in a certain vibration, in a certain level of consciousness. And it is just going to keep coming. You're going to keep coming up against it every single day, every single day. What are you going to believe? And it literally got to the point one day I had to tell my mom, I'm like, I'm sorry. I just believe in God more than I believe in what you have to say. And you're going to have some uncomfortable clashing moments, right? And, you know, I moved very far. Communication got limited because what happens is for a certain period of time, you have to protect your peace and your vibration. And that's just what it is. When you are more mastered, when you're more anchored in the new identity, then you can open the flow of communication back up. Like now I can engage with my family, my friends from high school and stuff like that, totally unbothered. Like it literally the things that they talk about do not bother me at all. It's actually kind of funny for me. It's like fun for me. But when I was going through like this whole ego death and reprogramming, it was triggering. It was too much. I literally had to create distance. So if that's where you are in your game right now, don't feel bad about that, right? Don't feel bad about needing to create space so you can connect with you and you, right? And it really does come down to, do I believe in the higher power that created this whole thing, or do I believe in what my mom or dad or whoever else is telling me about what's possible for me? Because when people try to tell you what's possible for you, yes, it can come from a place of love and they just want to protect you. They don't want you to be unrealistic and then, you know, have life hurt your feelings. But you have to remember that they are missing information, right? That they are operating from a certain level of consciousness. When you just accept that they're operating from a certain level of consciousness, you won't feel as triggered. You won't feel as hurt even or heartbroken from maybe the support or the understanding that you're looking for in that moment. You have to be comfortable with not being understood. You have to be comfortable with knowing that they don't know what you know, and that's okay because you're here to be an example. You are here to literally wipe out the old templates in your lineage and restore balance. You can't restore balance if you are worried about what they think about you and if they think that you're crazy. So many people thought that I was crazy, and they might still think that I'm crazy, but it doesn't matter because I'm happy and I'm successful and I can do whatever I want with my money. So it's like, okay, who cares, right? And then eventually when people start seeing that you have things that they want, they're like, oh shit, like maybe I should start getting into that manifestation stuff, right? Maybe I should start meditating. So you have to be so confident in what you know that you are capable of creating for yourself that it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It doesn't matter what the news is saying. It doesn't matter what the politicians are saying. Oh, the government is saying everything is falling apart. It's all, and they're dropping in right now, the galactics, and they're just saying it's all a part of the game that they're trying to keep going, right? They're trying to keep the play going because they're trying to keep you in a lower consciousness, because what happens is as soon as that switch goes off, and you elevate into the higher consciousness and you're operating from your higher self, you are no longer in the matrix. You're outside of the matrix. You're in what they're calling organic timelines. Like I live in organic timelines, meaning the way the Matrix was originally created was for us to have this physical experience, but to still be connected to Source God and create from love, abundance, and joy. Those are organic timelines. The Matrix timelines are the artificial timelines where the fear virus is out of control. They want to keep you vibrating in the range where you are shifting through these Matrix timelines, and you're not connected to your organic source power. So if you want to know, am I living in the Matrix or am I living in the organic Matrix? Ask yourself, what am I believing in? What do I think is true? What do I think is possible? Where am I allowing fear to dominate my vibration? It's just fear. And you can literally use fear as your signal. The fact that you are experiencing fear. Kind of like how they're putting is they don't want to call fear unnatural. They're just saying fear is evidence that you are experiencing, having a matrix thought or coming from a matrix conditioned perception. You can literally use fear to pivot and get yourself back into a more fine-tuned frequency. Yes, the organic matrix is everything. And let me just see if you guys have any questions. Trying to keep us in a lower consciousness. So what they want to talk about right now is, and I've spoken on this before, when you start changing your beliefs and your mind and trying to work on your energy and adopting these new habits and beliefs and things like that, that's usually when shit is going to get real. That's when things are going to seem the worst, because the old energy has to play out. And this is where a lot of people get discouraged, and then they end up reverting back into the same vibrational cycles and patterns, because they're like, well, the reality isn't changing, right? I still feel all this like financial pressure, and there's bill collectors and all this soul crushing shit. Like, how am I supposed to focus on abundance? Like, I'm not abundant. You have to have such a strong willpower, because the matrix is literally, I don't want to like get dark and stuff, but like literally beings will be assigned to you to keep you down when you are trying to rise up. And if you don't keep rising up in spite of everything that's going wrong, car breaks down, all this shit happening, like you guys know how it is. If you allow those things to trigger you back into the matrix programming and thinking, then they've won. It's like, oh, okay. It's almost like what they're giving me right now. They're showing me a signal where it's almost like a radar screen, where if somebody's frequency starts rising, it's almost like it sets off a trigger or an alarm. And it's like, oh, let's try to rush and try to like keep this person down. Let's try to keep them down. It's literally a thing. Like, I'm not trying to be like negative or anything, but like they're just saying to really put in context the world, the dimension that we're living in, that people or beings, there are beings who they only thrive off of, they're talking about like energetic fuel from us. So they're looking at you as a food source. It's like, oh, I'm losing food source. So of course they don't want to see you ascend, but guess what? When you just decide, okay, I'm not playing that game anymore, I don't believe in any of this, there's literally nothing they can do about it, which is why I can sit here on my live and talk shit, because vibrationally can't penetrate my field. Like, it's just impossible, because I just see right through that illusion. And again, these are our shadow selves that are in place to help us expand, to help us master ourselves and ascend. And what the galactics like to call this is like mastering the universal games, right? You're mastering the universal games. A lot of you here have already mastered universal games, and you're really here again, doing this again in this dimension to help other people. So as you're navigating these different challenges and experiences, I want you to approach this like Truly approach it like the game that it is. Like, okay, I see that ego trap. I see that pitfall. I see that. Okay, let me work on this. Let me master this. And then let me come back and approach that situation with more clarity, with more confidence, with a stronger vibration, with a stronger point in focus. Now you are playing the game, you are not getting played. And when you reach that point, there's not really anything here that, that's really 5D is what they're saying. 5D is just being free. Like you're here, you become an observer is what they're showing me. Like it's like they're showing me a person on the outside and they're just looking at everything else that's going on from a place of compassion, from a place of non-judgment, from a place of understanding the mastery that's taking place, but nonetheless on the outside of the game. But when you're still in it and you're going through, these ebbs and flows, that's okay. That's a part of your transformation. That's a part of this, just this thrill, this ride of expansion that your soul is on. And when you see it that way, you also take back more of your power. So I know I said a ton, but the whole point here today is that recessions and market crashes and all of these different things, you get to choose how you relate to that experience, and truly nothing is ever lacking. There's never lack of a job that you can manifest. There's never lack of an employer that would give you a raise to change your financial situation. There's never lack of clients if you're running a business. Lack is literally the number one illusion. I know people like to say money is the root of all evil, but I actually like to think that lack is the root of all evil, or evil is a strong word, but just chaos, right? Lack is what really creates all of this chaos and separation and distortion. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to hop on with me if you want to share what helped you shift. Oh my God, I'm so behind on the comments. I was just like in a whole source rant right there. I'm just getting caught up, guys. Illusion is definitely a thing. They literally try to mind fuck us in the media for sure. Yeah, this stuff is so orchestrated and so pre-planned and so just purposely puppeteered and created to elicit emotion and fear. They're just saying it's the fear that they feed on. They feed on the lower vibrational energy. As soon as fear is eradicated, there's no more energy source. There's, it just doesn't, the game is just not the same. So the work that we're all doing on behalf of the collective is we're shifting the energy so that people who are consciously aware of who they are, we have more of that within the collective, that it literally uplifts the vibrational timelines. And they're kind of giving me, for some of us, we bounce between different timelines to literally uphold the vibrational integrity of a timeline. Meaning, if you feel yourself really, really expanding, and then maybe you have a period of feeling like it almost feels like you're contracting, it might be that because you are so mastered as a soul, you can bounce between 4D and 5D and even 3D sometimes, because it's like you already mastered those lessons. So by you being in that timeline, it's really just to create space for other souls to, they're kind of giving me be impacted by your frequency. So the work that we're doing is so multidimensional, even in your times of struggle. As long as you are aware of the power that you hold, you are just a force, right? You can't really be touched. But just remember that when these things start going wrong, it's that old energetic cycle playing out, and it's an opportunity to you to prove to yourself, is this truly my new identity? Do I truly embody all of these beliefs? And then things just kind of smooth out, and you don't have so much of the up and down crazy chaos. Okay, Let's bring on Lily. Always has some interesting questions, so I'm excited for this. Hello, how are
Hi,
you? Hi.
I'm great. I love everything that you're saying. I feel like you're super inspirational for all of us, and everything that you are saying, like about, um, well, first I wanted to say thank you. Yesterday you did a live about like you are source, you are pure abundance, and when you said that, I like felt it. Like I felt this huge pillar of light like come from the sun to like the earth, and I could feel like how I was connected to everything, and just like that acknowledgement that divinity is always with us was like really powerful. Um, yeah, I've connected with you before. I've been on a live with you before. And um, where should we take this conversation?
I love that. Where do you want to take it? We can go wherever you want to go.
Um, God, I feel like we're talking about so many important things. I mean, when it comes to like timeline shifting and like bringing in our ability to create peace and to really have a say in what happens, I've just become aware that like really we're at a point in like galactic history where I think like peace is possible. Like I really do, and
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
and
And
it's
that,
really exciting.
and that's because of the work that all of us are doing, right? We've gotten the frequency to such a point where these newer quantum earth potentials are available to us, right? Because everybody likes to talk about like, oh, like the quantum field, infinite possibility, and we can do anything, and whatever. And it's like, yes, that's true, but there are, frequency ranges, meaning just because it's there and it's a possibility, it doesn't necessarily mean it's available to you right now based on your frequency. So every time we up level our frequency as like the spiritual collective that we are, that expands into the full collective, and then the entire collective gets to have shifts that were not possible before. So it's the work that we're doing like on a daily basis. It seems so small, and it's like, oh, like I'm working on my money vibration, like, so what? There's still people fucking starving all over the world. This isn't helping, but it is, right? It is
It is.
helping.
It
Yeah.
is. It's like the 100th monkey effect, or like the first time I became aware of this phenomena, it was like someone ran a 4 minute mile, and before that, like no one ever did, and then after that, like all of a sudden, there's like a bunch of people running 4 minute miles. So it's like once one person breaks through, or like shows like this is what's possible, or like makes an advancement, and then all of a sudden, like the rest of us get to up level and shift, and that's why like I was taught one thing that I like really like have taken to heart is like because we're all on some level connected. Like I had a friend who made a comment to me once. He was like, people think that if like other people stop suffering, then that means I will stop suffering, and it doesn't work like that. And I'm like, actually, it does. Like when one person heals, we all heal. When one person makes a shift forward, like we that possibility becomes greater and greater for all of us, and that's what we want. We want everyone to have access to like the
Yeah.
blessings we want for ourselves.
I think you just touched on something really important with almost like guilt, like being guilty or feeling shame around thriving or abundance and these different things, because what your ego is going to tell you is, well, how can I create this life for myself when so many other people are suffering, when so many other people don't get to have this experience, and you're never going to be able to help other people by you being also being in the same position that they're in. You know what I mean? So we have to just constantly affirm to ourselves, I get to prosper. Like, I like to call this the permission to prosper. I have permission to prosper. I have permission to be happy and successful and abundant. And through me doing that, that is an example of truly who we are, who we all are, right? And it's sort of like that little ounce of hope that somebody needs. But by you wanting to keep yourself small because you're like, oh, well, if I start thriving and other people are not thriving, then I don't know, some type of illusion or whatever. Like, you have to get out of that and
For
just be
sure.
be comfortable with being the real you, which is a thriving, abundant being.
100%. And like that's a really deep topic because like I feel like I feel like the set point for humanity is like suffering, and like that's what we came to change, is because like we're really like okay, so like one thing I love about you is like, you know who you are. You're like, I'm an expression of God's source, and like it's true. Like when you are in front of another person, like you're literally talking to God, and like the nature of God is to be pure love and amazing, and all love knows how to do is give, and all love knows how to do is expand, you know.
Yeah, and it's, you know what it is, and I had to experience this on my journey because we're so taught that being special or being amazing or being like radiant is like not a good thing, right? It means you're cocky or you're not humble and whatever.
Yeah,
And when I just allowed myself to be what I am, which is source, and be fucking awesome, you will literally feel the vibrational shift in your beingness, because now you are in harmony with your true nature. And it doesn't come from a place of ego. Like when I sit here and say, I am God's source, I am connected to the most powerful, amazing, infinitely intelligent beingness in all of existence, that's not coming from ego. It's like a fact. It's like actually true. Like I can't make this up. I am just a part of something that's great. And when you just adopt that as like your identity, you just move through life with so much self-love for just
yeah,
who you are. Not
yeah,
you as the individual, right? But truly as an expression of divinity. Holy shit, I am so fucking amazing. And when that's your permanent vibration, what do you're pulling into your gravitational force field? Things that I am fucking awesome vibration. So your tips that make you feel like that. Jobs, clients, and everything we can imagine come when you hold the vibration of who you are as source. So
yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah. And it's like good for the heart too. Like when you're talking about
Yeah.
oh, I am love, I am divine. Like I feel so much like it gives people a chance to appreciate you, and it gives people a chance to like appreciate themselves, and it's just like that cycle of goodness, and it creates that like ripple effect and that overall sense for everyone to begin to like
Yeah.
celebrate life.
And before we wrap this up, I want to give you guys like a really practical thing you can do to start shifting into that level of consciousness. Like, just look at how amazing this world is, and the fact that source could literally has this genius in that it could create the world that you're living in, right? If we look at nature, if you look at the fact that if the earth was literally like a millisecond away from like the sun or whatever, that life just couldn't exist. Like the small details like that are so perfect. When you,
Divine perfection.
yeah, when you start realizing, holy shit, like that same created me and like lives through, I am that, you get to start assuming that level of self-worth because you know what you're connected to. So yeah, just start looking in the world like, holy shit, all of this is a part of what I come from. And like, that's my power. That's my power. And just own it as yours, hold it as yours, and you just become invincible.
Powerful. Yeah,
Yeah. Thank
yeah.
you so much for co-creating this moment with me. So beautiful.
It is, and I hope everyone got to like receive from it what was meant for them. Much
Yeah.
love.
Thank you so much. Much love to you. Thank you. That energy, like, I wish I could just give that feeling to every single person on the planet. Just knowing that who you are as source is just so infinite and so amazing and so magnificent. And when you start seeing yourself that way, truly believing that about yourself, there's just a feeling in your heart. It's not coming from ego. And I think that's what we're afraid of, right? Like, even with a lot of my clients that I work with, they're always just like, or a lot of people, what I notice is, even when it comes to wanting to be successful or like grow a business or whatever it is, there's this underlying fear of, is that my ego? And that's been implanted and conditioned into us purposely, right? Is it my ego that I want to do something that's amazing? Is it my ego that I want to make more money? Is it my ego that I want to be successful? Is it my ego that I want my following to grow? No. Success is the most natural thing. Like my guides always tell me, we are rooting for your highest success, because success is the true frequency blueprint of source. It's a frequency. It's literally, it's just a vibrational embodiment of perfection, which is what source God is. And it's natural for us to want to be as close as possible to that frequency, because it's who we are. So I hope this inspired you guys to just see how amazing and incredible you are. Shine your beautiful, magnificent light. Have everything you want to have. Do everything you want to do. Be bold. Be inspirational. Just do whatever you want to do. Let that light shine through your existence here. And guess what? That's activating. That's literally activating. When people witness you, or when they're in your energy field, or they're just around you, it's like, oh my gosh, like, who is this person? I just want to be around them. You're activating them energetically, because you remember who you are. And that's what we all want. We just want to remember who we are. So when you hold the confidence to be that person in the room who's not afraid to shine your light, and you're not trying to like be the small, quiet person because, you know, you want to be humble and all these things. Yeah, that's not coming from like your higher self doesn't want you to hide behind a curtain, because your higher self knows how much you have to share and how activating that is for other people. So let yourself be seen. This was so amazing. And remember, recessions are an illusion. I know that was like the start of like the whole conversation, but recessions are an illusion, as are all these other things. And just thrive. Give yourself permission to thrive. So thank you guys for hanging out with me.